New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Why, hello there. It's me, Bonnie Gonzalez. Yes, your doula for grief. Hope you're well out there today. A little bit about me before we get started is that I am a grief coach, a registered nurse, a religious science practitioner, and a licensed soul collage facilitator. And most importantly of all, I am a human being right now, right here on the planet. So thank you and welcome. If it's your first time joining me, thank you so much. And I want you to know, I just want to reassure you that you have come to the right place to start your healing journey from grief. And if you're a returning guest, I am always honored to know that you're out there and doing this work, that we're working right along together. I love that expression that we're just walking each other home. And that's what we're doing, walking each other through the shadows of grief. Knowing that grief does have a superpower, though. Grief's superpower is healing. So holding on to that. And though the show is pre-recorded, still leave a comment and it will get addressed on our next show, or I'll send you a personal note. But anyway, I just want to say that I know right now that the entire world is in grief. And that's why this show, like the theme is just navigating the devastation of war and grieving the devastation of war. And we'll get into that in a few minutes. But I just want to start by saying that I know the thing that is on everyone's mind right now is the war in Israel, the war between Israel and Palestine. And we've just been through and continued to move through that war in the Ukraine and Russia. It seems like right now, it's the focus feels that it's on war. So what can we all do when things like this happen? We really do feel a loss of control and a loss of hopelessness. And that's what I want to address today. But before we start our conversation and dialogue, I would like to just take this moment, kind of my ritual. It is my ritual. For right here and right now and with you, we're doing a ritual of I'm lighting a candle. I'm lighting a candle to honor and to remember all of those lives that have been lost. I say honoring that they have sacrificed their lives so that we can wake up, so that we can be aware of what is happening in that part of the world what is happening in their country. But knowing, as Martin Luther King says, if there is injustice anywhere, there is injustice everywhere. So knowing that their lives are touching our lives, and just want to honor those lives, to just take a minute and just have silence to say, thank you for making that sacrifice, and to know that you are honored and remembered. So just a moment of silence. Thank you. And this candle will remain lit throughout the program today, so that we carry that energy of those that have gone before us. We carry it with us now as we move forward, as each one of us makes our affirmations, our determinations to move forward from this event, as we make those affirmations and determinations as to what we will do as we move forward. So this candle will remain lit, honoring that. Thank you so much. So as I said, my theme for today is to honor the devastations of war, but it really comes up, thank you, Joe, mourning the devastation of war. And what I want to say is that what happens is that this situation is what brings us in to collective grief. And collective grief, it's just defined as what happens when a community, a society, village, or nation all experience extreme change or loss. And yes, we've had a tremendous loss yet again. And collective grief comes about in the wake of a major event such as war, a natural disaster, or other things that result in mass casualties or worldwide tragedy. And like when we're in grief, in our own personal grief, there's that feeling of a lack of control that comes with collective grief, because we were unable to prevent the loss or change, which can leave us feeling powerless in the aftermath. And that's what I want to talk about today. How can we move through this collective grief? Because not only having collective grief, knowing that this collective grief, yes, that's happening to us all, but we also are back in our own cumulative grief, because we have our own lives, our own losses that we are experiencing. And remembering that grief is caused by loss, because loss is what we experience, and then grief is what we feel. So the loss this is a big loss with collective grief. It's a collective grief. It's a loss on a bigger scale. But it does not negate, does not minimize our own personal collective grief. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that we can do to help us heal and move through collective grief. But before we do that, I think we'll just take a little break, and then I'll come back and we will talk about 3 areas that we can use to 3 areas of moving through collective grief. 3 areas. So we will have a quick break and come back and discuss that.
New Thought Radio, music from all your favorite New Thought artists. From Jamie Lula, Karen Drucker, Gary Lynn Floyd, Ricky Byers, Daniel Nahmod, Eddie Watkins Jr., and many, many more. 24/7 New Thought Radio. Positively inspiring.
Thank you and welcome back. Before we move through those 3 areas of how to move through collective grief, I wanted to just quote Sobonfu Somé. She's an African, I'll call her African wise woman on grief, and just sharing with you some of her wise words coming from a tribe in Africa where grief is accepted. Grief is a part of the human experience, as we know. But in some cultures, it's more accepted and expressed in ways that we don't express it in our culture. And I want to say that we're all learning. I'm not bashing our culture or the way that we have mourned or handle mourning and grieving. I am just here to share, to shine the light on how we do grieve, and really more of how we don't grieve, how we're not given permission to grieve in our culture. And it is just time now for a change. So many places that I go, and so many people will say, the reason that the world is in such strife and such turmoil right now is because old paradigms are dying. Things are shifting and changing. And is that why we're having more loss? So that we look at how we grieve those losses? It is just a question. I'm not saying that it is, that it isn't. I'm just presenting another perspective on seeing grief. And knowing that grief, as I said, the healing, the superpower is healing. Knowing that grief is to be accepted into our lives as another human emotion, another human experience. And so, as Sobonfu Somé says, we experience a multitude of emotions, joy and sadness. And then there are many times we have grief that we don't have words for. We have many losses, and it's important for us to grieve, to recover from those losses. She says grieving is a soul cleansing way to reclaim and recover your spirit. When we don't grieve, we stay in an unhealthy place and lose who we are. So it is very important to cry, to walk in nature, to express our grief, so that we can feel safe and sane once again. And also grief. Our bodies can recover. Our bodies need to recover from the loss. I know I have done a show on how grief held in the body can manifest into disease, illness, and sicknesses. And maybe it's time to revisit that, because Simone Somé brings that up, that our bodies need to heal from the grief as well. So what just a beautiful, wise woman, and just so enjoying listening to her teachings as well on grief, and keeping myself armed with information so that I can share it with you. But just listening to her was so healing for my own soul, my own spirit. So as I said, we'll talk about the 3 areas that we can use to process our collective grief. And the first one, so many people are already doing this. It's public mourning. Yes, public mourning. Coming together in public rituals, public ceremonies, participating in those candlelight visuals are just, very important one. But there's other marches and parades that honor the loss, honors the loss of what it is that we're grieving in this situation, the loss of lives in Israel and with the Palestinians, a mass loss of lives, and the tragedy and the horrificness of it. And when we come together in public to grieve, I always feel that, those 3 pillars of grief to heal grief is that grief needs to be heard, grief needs to be shared, and grief needs to be validated. And that is exactly the 3 things that public mourning or collective grief satisfies. You get to speak it, you get to hear it, you get to share it, and you validate each other as you're sharing. And what a tremendous opportunity to be able to take advantage of that, to know that what you're holding, you're not alone in it, that it is being shared by others. It kind of lightens our energetic load. We're sharing this together. You can call someone without any reason to say, oh my gosh, in this situation, you can just call to say, wow, I'm just so upset by what's happening with the Israelis and the Palestinians. And whoever you're talking with will listen immediately, because that is the way we move through grief, is by having it heard, by being able to address and bring up what we're feeling. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. My internet. I'm hoping I'm with you. I'm going to just keep talking. Yes, it's a rainy day here in California, and I swear all of the bandwidths are a little bit wonky. All the Wi-Fi and internet's a little wonky. But as I was saying, back to the public mourning aspect of moving through collective grief can be so healing and so satisfying. I have the opportunity, I've been invited to a grief ceremony that's to be held on the beach. How wonderful is that there be a ceremony honoring grief. And you can believe that we've all come together with that same intention of honoring and mourning what has happened in our world. So look around, see if that's for you. And I know that so many people that do attend a Sunday service in community centers, churches, synagogues, wherever, that this has been the number one conversation. And knowing that they have a place to go, to be able to seek some refuge, to be with like-minded people, is healing in itself and giving people something to look forward to, a sense of hope. So public mourning really satisfies that, as I said, that need to be heard, to be validated, and to share your grief. So public mourning is number one. The second place that we can use to move through our grief is by community action. And this is where, when you're just, that anger that comes with grief, with that outrage that comes with grief, this is a place that you can really express that. And you can express that too back in public mourning, but this is where you can take action. You can join an organization that has a like-minded cause, or you can start your own group, or start a movement of doing whatever it is that you feel brings about justice again. And not necessarily have to expend a lot of energy with, creating the wheel. You don't have to do that. Just look around and see what's already there. This past week, was with some friends and talking about online prayer groups, online world peace prayer groups, virtual prayer groups, or on the phone prayer groups, or groups that are meeting in person. Spirituality is one of the major, for me, underpinnings of life, something that we can go to just heal back to our spiritual practices. And if you don't have a spiritual practice, that's okay. But now maybe it's the time that you will find one, or something that you realize that you really want to lean into more of, or that you want more information on some philosophy that you've heard about. Science of mind is a philosophy. Buddhism is a philosophy. It's not necessarily the dogma and telling you how to live your life, but it's just putting information there that allows you to really drop into yourself to say, wow, what do I need to live my best life? Does this philosophy fit that? Does it resonate with what I'm feeling in my heart? Community action, and then back to groups. I've seen so many tables set up with people getting petitions. There's been organizations that are accepting, of course, monetary donations, but clothing, making care packages to be sent to these areas. There's so many things that can be done right in our community. And being a part of that allows you to feel like, yes, I am making a difference. Yes, I'm doing something. I'm channeling my outrage into this project, knowing that this project will help. This project can bring hope to your own life. I've heard it said so many times that world peace starts with each individual person being at peace. So knowing that, just take a look around, partner with some friends. If you don't see what it is that you really want to take part of in, you can partner with friends, a group, or your community. So many centers or so many housing areas and condos have community rooms. Put up signs to say, let's meet in the community room, see what we can do. Put up a sign even in your worship center to say, hey, let's meet here, or here's my number, this is what I want to do. Just know that this is one time and this is one place in community action that you can bring back that hope that you feel. You can have that sense of control that grief, so often robs us of. You know, grieving is unpredictable and uncontrollable. But this is one time, this is one place that you can go back to yourself. You can come back to yourself and say, yes, I have done so much, or I am doing the best that I can do right now. So just being with that, as I said, public mourning, getting out there, sharing what it is that you're feeling with others. Sharing, as I said, your outrage, your hopelessness, whatever is there, allow it to come up and allow it to be. So, and then taking community action, you know, taking action with a group. What is it? Margaret Mead said that it's always been a small group of people, just starting small, a small group of people that make big changes that affects the world. So knowing that there is power in a small group, there's strength there. And the third area is to give yourself space. And this is when it comes back to you, your own personal self-care. And somehow in our society, this whole idea of self-care has sounded like, you know, a day at the spa, pamper yourself, all about you in that sense. But it is about you. It's about you in every sense of the word. With collective grief, it's even more so about you, about giving yourself space. What happens sometimes when we're doing the public grieving, we can feel that, oh, wow, that's not how I respond in grief. I do X, Y, and Z. I curl up in a fetal position. I take a nap. That's how I grieve. That's how I move through those feelings of sadness. So when you give yourself space to grieve, you can grieve in private, and you don't have to feel like you're performing or under pressure to show up in a certain way for a public mourning. And this is really the time to explore your feelings. Because as I said back at the very beginning, that when we are in that collective grief, this grief of looking around and seeing others mourning, and we say, oh, okay, then it's okay for me to mourn, to cry, to wail, to do whatever it is that I do when I'm in grief, in grieving. But to remember that will bring up your own grief. Once we're grieving one loss, it tends to bring up the losses that we've experienced in our lives. And there's no shame in that. That cumulative grief is real. We've all had a multitude of losses in our lives. So giving yourself permission to move through that grief, be it old, be it something that happened 20, 30 years ago, it's still there. If it's moving through, now is the time that you can heal it. If what you resist will persist, so now it is coming up because that desire for it to come up and out. And what you can do is, yes, you can talk to a friend. Journal if you journal. If you have a therapist, allow that to be a session or sessions, more than one. Let those things come up. You know, and not everybody journals. I had a friend who did not journal, but what she would do is she'd have a tape recorder And now everybody has a recorder on their phone. If this works for you. But what she would do is just get in her phone. She had a little tiny tape recorder back in the old days, and she'd place it right on her dash, or she had a place on her dashboard that she secured the tape recorder, and she would just speak what she was feeling. She said that when she drove, while driving, she felt like that's when things came up for her. So she used that as her therapeutic time, she called it, to just self-talk. And she had it recorded, and she could go back and listen to it. Sometimes she would make notes about it. She was a fantastic pianist. And what she would do was listen, and whatever came up as she listened, she would use music to heal, to music to help further, allow it to dissipate, to melt away, as she would call it. So yes, music is another great healing tool. It just alters our level of consciousness without even having to really even give it thought. So using collective grief to say, I need to give myself space to grieve privately and to grieve whatever comes up. And I'd like to just say, if you don't have someone that you can talk to, you don't have a therapist, there's always group therapy. There's always groups that you can go to. Groups where people will listen. Because it allows you to see that you're just not alone. You're not alone. There's so many options. And if I have not said this once, I've said it a million times. Don't do grief alone. We cannot grieve alone. We cannot heal in isolation. We may try to do it, but the process will last a lot longer than if you're sharing it with others, or you have someone to share. Oh, one other place I didn't talk about that so many people take great solace in this when they are in grieving, and that is physical movement. As Sabon Fu Somé said earlier, that our bodies need to heal from grief as well. So many people talk about going for a hike or going for a run, that it gets things moving. It gets it moving up and out. Riding, those Peloton bikes and just really getting what comes up out. Physical movement, physical exercise. Yoga, some yoga poses, legs up the wall. Child's pose is bringing our body into this thing called grief. Legs all up the wall, you just on the floor with, close to the wall, so your legs are round and your legs are up on the wall. Those are poses, and child pose, as I said, those are poses that can really relieve our grief, relieve our bodies of the stress of carrying grief. And I have said that grieving is very tiresome. Grieving is very tiresome. 10% of our brain is being used to process whatever devastating news it is that we've heard, processing it. How has our lives changed? Our brain needs time to put this in, to put it in perspective, to put it in its place in our psyche. So doing that, knowing that that is what's happening, that we're not operating full throttle. A part of our brain is occupied with doing something very vital and something very important. So knowing that, taking that time to make space, to create space in your daily environment. So as I said, walking, hiking, jogging, exercise bike, what's that, rock climbing. Someone told me, oh, when I'm rock climbing, I'm just concentrating so hard that mentally everything just like disappears and dissipates. And when I come back from a good climb, having survived a climb, that they feel euphoric. There's a little high that goes on. You know, endorphins are being released. And one thing I would like to add, I'll take this time to say this, is that in your self-care, and if you're aware of this, just be mindful that now is not a good time to use alcohol or other drugs to help move through grief. As you know, these things are very addictive. And then you're adding another problem onto whatever it is that you're grieving. It may give you a momentary solace but buys you a little time out. And that's understandable. But know that that is not really the best way to proceed. That is not really the best way to honor your grief. And just being gentle with yourselves, not beating you up if that's what you're doing, just having that awareness. And how can you do less of those things, less of the drugs, alcohol, even eating can be a very addictive thing if you're using it to not feel your emotions. Someone called it eating your feelings. So if you're doing that, that's not always the best thing that you could be doing. But all of this, just being gentle with yourself, though, being gentle with yourself during this difficult time. I say treating yourself like a newborn baby, just treating yourself very, very gently. So those are the three things that I wanted to talk to you about for collective grief. Was the public mourning. Yes, out there in public. Letting others know, yes, that you are sad as well. Sad. See, how sad. That's the word that comes to mind for me. Just feeling really sad during this time that we have a world that there was such, I'll just use it, hate for each other. I'm sad to hear that. And just as Martin Luther King says, hate can't drive out hate. Only love can drive out hate. So this is a part of that public mourning, coming out together to say, yes, we are uniting and moving through this and honoring those that have gone before us. And don't forget community action, getting out there, joining groups, doing what it is that you feel gets your voice heard. Monetary contributions are always acceptable. As they say, war is expensive, but peace is equally expensive. So getting money into the hands of those that are bringing about peace. And again, giving yourself space to grieve. So we're going to take a break. And when I come back from break, I want us to just do a heart meditation to strengthen our hearts and send the love from our hearts out to the world. And I've done it before, and I'm sure you've done it before, but there's always an opportunity to participate and do it again. Because each time you do this meditation, I can guarantee you'll be moved to another level. You'll have insights that you did not have before. So we'll do the meditation when we come back. So when we come back from break, just be in a comfortable position and allow yourself to be a part of this meditation. So I'll be all ready for you when we come back from break. Hello, hello, wow. Oh, so I hope you are ready for a little meditation and ready to meditate with me. But I think before we do the meditation, I just want to read a beautiful piece that was sent to me, and it was written by Tara Brock. And I think it's for all of us. It really talks about being in grief, and maybe I won't try to over explain it. I'll just read it. Okay. In the Lakota Sioux tradition, and I'm reading this because we're all in grief, so using it as I and seeing how powerful you are. In the Lakota Sioux tradition, a person who is grieving is considered most holy. There's a sense that when someone is struck by the sudden lightning of grief, he or she stands on the threshold of the spirit world. The prayers of those who grieve are considered especially strong, and it's proper to ask them for their help. You might recall what it's like to be with someone who has grieved deeply. The person has no layer of protection, nothing left to defend. The mystery is looking out through that person's eyes. For the time being, he or she has accepted the reality of loss and has stopped clinging to the past or grasping at the future. In the groundless openness of sorrow, there is a wholeness of presence and a deep natural wisdom. And that's by Tara Brock. And I want to say, when we talk about oneness and wholeness, it is things like collective grief that reminds us that we are one. There's really no separation. We are one. What affects one affects all. And it's just a beautiful reminder of wholeness. And also that we all possess a natural wise wisdom. Grief puts us back in touch with the innate truth of ourselves and our own wise wisdom that comes up and bubbles up that we get to share with each other. So thank you. And with that, we're just, as I said, to be comfortable, I just want us to do this heart opening ritual, a heart meditation ritual. And I'm sure that you've, as I said, done it before, but it's always wonderful to have an opportunity to do it again. So just sit up a little bit straighter, get comfortable, both feet flat on the floor. I'm just going to have a sip of water here. Both feet flat on the floor. And gently closing your eyes if that feels good. And as you close your eyes, just scan your body for any tightness or tension. And bring a breath into those areas. And allow your mind to relax. Allow yourself to just relax into this moment. This moment is all there is. And in this moment, there is perfection. And now that you're relaxed, if you take your left hand and place it over your heart, and your right hand over your left hand, knowing that our heart has an intelligence, just like our brain. Our heart has an intelligence. So I want you to just start by taking a deep breath. And allow that breath to go into your heart. Another deep breath, just going into your heart. On the next breath, allow yourself to follow that breath into your heart. With each in and out breath, allow yourself to go deeper and deeper into your own heart. In and out, deep breaths. Now, allow your heart to do the breathing. With each breath, just feel your heart breathing. Your heart is breathing your entire being. And as you breathe in and out, just feel your heart expanding. Feel your heart expanding. And your heart gets bigger and bigger with each in and out breath. Your heart is becoming larger and expanding itself with energy. Imagine the heart is large and this energy is now filling the room that you're in. Just continue breathing. Continue to feel that energy. Now that energy is expanding and filling the building that you're in. Imagine that energy now is filling the city that you're in. It's surrounded and filling the city that you're in. It's becoming more expansive that it's filling the state or the province that you're in. Even larger now that it's filling the country that you're in. Continue feeling the expansiveness and the energy of your heart out there. Now imagine that other people that are doing this work, imagine your heart energy is commingling with their energy. And together this energy is encircling the planet. This energy is now surrounding the entire planet because it has commingled with those that are doing the work. And we are all now one. We are all one. Imagine this energy is so powerful and so big now, it's going out into the cosmos. This heart energy is energy of love that is being sent around the world and out into the cosmos. Feel this energy. Drop into this energy. Know that this energy is you. This energy is not outside of you. This energy is you. Oh, and with that realization, just continuing to feel that energy. And now, you can start bringing that energy back. Slowly bringing it back from around the world. Bringing it back just onto the planet. bringing it back into your country, bringing back that heart energy, back, back, and back until it's in your state, it's in your building, it's now in your room, and now that energy is back into your chest. Know what you've experienced is your heart energy. Knowing the power of this heart energy. Knowing that this is always available. This energy is available at any time that you would like to send it out. Just breathing. Knowing that that is the power of you. That is the gift that you can give and bring to the world. Knowing that this meditation is available to you at all times. That you can do this as long as you like. And even as short as you like. Continuing to just breathe. Continue to breathe and allowing your heart to just breathe you. Know that you're just knowing that in this moment you're aware of your own power and that this power is available to be tapped into at any time. And another deep breath and just thank yourself for participating in this mind expanding heart meditation. And one last breath. And allow your energy and allow yourself to be present again in the room. Just wiggle your fingers or toes and know that you've arrived back. I feel the more tips, tools that we have to help move us through grief, the more successful we can be with healing our grief. And when we grieve, when we give ourselves permission to grieve, we give others permission to grieve. So in turn, we're helping ourselves and each other. So after doing that beautiful heart meditation, I just want you to maybe the next few minutes or after this program ends, maybe just sit in silence and feel into the energy, the residual energy of having done that meditation. Because there has been energy that's been shifted and awakened that maybe you weren't aware of before. So I just want to thank you for participating in this program today and knowing that what the planet is feeling right now, what we're all feeling, what this entire world is in a state of grief. And we have a multitude of things that we have not even tapped into grieving yet. You know, we've all survived the pandemic. You know, those 2020, and it's the lingering effect of that. I don't think we've even begun to unpack the losses and unpacked how our lives have changed since 2020. So knowing that grief is a part of the human experience. Embrace that grief. Just embrace the grief. And asking yourself, as I say, go look in the mirror and ask yourself, What is it that I need today? What is it that I need today? And answer that. And I just invite you we're here on New Thought Media Network. And there are so many beautiful programs that you could take part in, that you could view, that could really help with where we are right now with grief. There is, New Thought Media radio station offers prayer twice a day, 8:15 a.m. Mountain Time and 8:15 p.m. Mountain Time. Twice a day for 15 minutes, there's an opportunity to pray. And we even now have programming in the Spanish language. So check that out. Check out those programs and let people know that are Spanish speaking that yes, New Thought Media is inclusive. Their goal is to really honor and have a world that works for everyone. My beautiful friend Gina, Reverend Gina, has a beautiful program on Thursdays, Joy in the Journey. And that comes on. It's 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So check out that program, Joy in the Journey. My brother Zoe, brother from another mother, has a program on Thursdays at 11 a.m. Choice, Your Superpower. And Rocking the Love. Thank you, Joe. And Rocking the Love is on Wednesdays at 12 noon with Reverend Gil Olmsted and his beautiful wife, Robin Olmsted. Rocking the Love, that comes on. A beautiful program on relationships. There's just so many wonderful programs. Fireside Chat with Reverend Michael Mangus on Friday nights. Reverend Jim Webb out of DC has a program. Thank you. Has a program on Sundays. This is Fireside Chat with Reverend Michael Mangus. And that's Reverend Jim Webb, Miracle of Prosperity. So check his shows out. There's just a multitude of programs. Do you have Joy in the Journey, Joe? Do you have the banner for Joy in the Journey? I'd love to share that with the audience as well. If not, Joy in the Journey is on Thursdays. And I want to say for the Mountain Time, that would be 1, but I think Eastern Time may be 4. So we've just got beautiful programming here on New Thought Media Network. So I am going to bring it to a close right now. And I want everyone out there to just listen to this poem. We're going to just end. We're having a poetry day. I know that Reverend Tracy Brown, maybe she's Dr. Tracy Brown, has a prayer on Tuesday. I think it's called Prayer and Poetry, and it's on Tuesdays. So many beautiful programs. I'm going to let you do some more research as I close this out with our Rumi poem, my most favorite Rumi poem in the world, and it is The Guest House. And it goes, this being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. They may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So I thank you. Whatever you're feeling today, know that it is wonderful. It's what you need to feel right now. As Rumi says, even if it's a crowd of sorrows, it just may be clearing you out for a new delight. So honor that as well. Thank you. And again, I'm Bonnie Gonzalez, your doula for grief, and I'm a grief coach. And I'm available for coaching and being with you as another human. And you can find me at yourdoulaforgrief.com. Thank you. Have a beautiful day. Ciao.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Spiritual Center, Kitchener, Home Center for Spiritual Living, La Mesa, Satya Center, Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and Center for Spiritual Living, Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for making New Thought Media Network a place to be. Please come be you. And remember, like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.